Hey, Jack. All right. You got this stuff?
Yeah. All cleaned in oil.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get it on.
Who are these guys?
It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Hot damn, it's time to get down to the jam. It's time to get down, it's time to get down, it's time to get down to the jam. I said it's time to get down to the knowledge, gonna get on down with the know. On the morning coffee show, on morning coffee with Keith, here on Pop Culture Minefield.
Excuse me, can I get a cup of coffee? Black?
Can't you see we talking?
White?
Good morning, everyone. Wow, this has been another fantastic morning for technical difficulties. But I am here. Ooh,
That's
wow.
what's matter.
Didn't think I was I didn't think I was gonna make it. Seriously. It just kept saying, well, we don't recognize your camera and your mic. We can't find them. It's like they're right here. They're right here in front of me. Oh wow. Hey Mephisto, hey.
Oh,
I'd like to say hello to Mephisto and Tom Baker and Penny, the lovely Penny.
and Andy Morrow.
Andy Morrow. Wow. This is gonna be a morning, kids. There's a lot going on, and first and foremost, let's just go ahead and handle what the current topic is, which is Captain America 4 or Captain Falcon America 4. Oh wow.
Or Captain, not necessarily American.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I gotta say, this is one of those instances where I look at this and I really like Anthony Mackie a lot. He is a really good dude, I hear. I think he's very talented. But I think he got, as I said, 2 weeks ago, I think he has been completely railroaded in this. Look, not everybody is a geek or a nerd. Not everybody grew up with comics. Not everybody, that should be something that is, truly understood when it comes to Hollywood. That more often than not, you're dealing mainly with a lot of creative people who have no real understanding of what this stuff is that they are adapting when they adapt something. And especially when it comes to the actors and actresses. And because Penny, yeah, she's gonna go see Captain America. Yeah. I wish you luck on that one. I don't think you'll have trouble finding seats.
Oh,
From what I've seen and from what I've heard, I don't think you'll have a lot of trouble in certain cities, big cities, finding seats. And now it looks like some of the media outlets are trying to memory hole a lot of the problems this film had. Hollywood Reporter now is starting to mainly they're doing this thing where they're only referring to the budget of the film at about $180 million.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, when you started, you know, that's a long time ago. But that's fine. That's fine. They can do that. That's on them. But I like Anthony Mackie, and I think it should be understood that, as I keep saying, he got the raw end of this deal. This whole having him be Captain America is a raw deal.
Yeah. That couldn't have ended well for anybody.
No, and look, I am one of those people that while the logical choice would have been Bucky, I'm not even sure even having Bucky be Captain America would work at the end, you know?
Yeah, I, I have this extremely revolutionary concept called recasting. If for any reason you couldn't use Chris Evans, he wanted to go, he was boring, I don't know, whatever. Recast. But
Yeah, recast. And that seems to be the problem with the MCU as Kevin Feige was running things. For whatever reason,
hello.
I don't
Yeah.
understand it. You know, can you hear me?
Sometimes I can. But okay.
Okay. It just seems like only certain characters, only certain actors are allowed to be considered someone that they can actually replace when it comes to telling stories. And I just think that that's wrong-headed thinking. But when it comes to Sam Wilson as a character, look, this whole having Sam Wilson be Captain America didn't even work in the comics. And a lot of stuff the MCU's trying to get away with putting in some movies and Disney Plus shows, a lot of this stuff is more recent in the entire history of these characters than the stuff that they should be using. Sam Wilson's a really good character, but to be honest, very limited because you didn't know that much about him. And rather than taking the time to get to know the character, rather than taking the time of trying to find a way of beefing up the character so that you have a better version of Falcon, they just decided to try to cheat the whole thing and turn him into Captain America. And that just doesn't work. In fact, I'll even go a step further and say this. After that first Avengers movie came out, and everybody remembered they made an animated version of the Avengers. They had their own animated series. And I think in season 2, they introduced Falcon into the show. That version of Falcon on the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes animated series, that's what they should have. If they were completely not going to go with what they had in the comics, they should have gone with what they had placed in the animated series. That's the character Anthony Mackie should be playing. And they can't even do that. So yeah, this is not going to go too well for. This is not going to be a good weekend for Marvel. Really, this is the start of not too good of a year for Disney overall. Because
Again.
again, Snow White's coming, and that movie's already a train wreck. So unless this film surprisingly turns into a movie of size, scope, and popularity as, say, Barbie, this is not going to be good. It's just not. Shinatsky, again, you are correct. They never gave the film Falcon any backstory. I mean, he has a story, but a lot of it you picked up in passing. And again, I've said it on other shows, it's about chemistry. And when you find chemistry between actors, that's a rare thing. Most people would try to lean into the chemistry that you have and try to make more of it so that you can entertain the masses. Sebastian Stan and he should have been in this movie. It should have just been another Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It should have been Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the movie. That's really what this should have been. Oh, it's JM. Good morning, chat. Keith and Mark. I'm literally having coffee with you. Yeah, I know. Coffee here. Good to see you, G. I want this film to be a success. I'm just not sure if the people that are working currently for Marvel Studios want this character and film to be a success. I'm just not that sure. Mainly because of things that I've heard. I'm just not too sure about a lot of the people that have been working with Marvel Studios over the last few years, exactly what we're dealing with. I'm not sure if they're the kind of people that should be involved in any of this stuff. But this is a good cast. And that's really what gets me. I think this is one of the best cast Marvel films for any of their individual character films. This cast is amazing. And I think
Really?
we start.
I
Well,
don't.
yeah, go ahead.
Man, I'm a nerd and a geek through and through. And of course, having said that, it's implicit that I love Harrison Ford.
Mhm.
But he is not Thunderbolt Ross. He's not. I still have to watch him. Maybe if I see the movie, he can convince me, like Frank Langella convinced me that he was Nixon. But at this point, they say to me, no, yeah, all indie, he's Thunderbolt Ross. Have you seen Thunderbolt Ross? Have you seen that character?
I gotta say, William Hurt was always one of those actors. He's
was
amazing.
Perfect. He was perfect.
And it's really, really sad that he passed away. So I mean, if you're gonna replace him, yeah, Harrison Ford's a good choice. I didn't say he was perfect, but he's a good choice. He's a guy that's willing to do it. I mean, there aren't too many more actors around that same age that are willing to do things.
We still have some Elliott.
Well, Sam Elliott would have been great, but for whatever reason, he decided he didn't want to do it, or they didn't contact him. Plus, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody under the age of 30 who has a really good idea who Sam Elliott is. I know Sam Elliott.
But he played the character once, so.
Well, I mean, again, I'm still waiting for Tom Cruise to invite Sam Elliott into one of the Mission Impossible films.
Oh. That sounds interesting. That sounds interesting.
Well, that's because Sam Elliott was a cast member on the original television show. He was there when Leonard Nimoy was there, post Star Trek. And I think Sam Elliott lasted for maybe a season. And this is pre-mustache. So watching episodes with Sam Elliott is kind of weird, you know.
It's like some select without his mustache. Who's that guy?
It's weird. You know. But I think Tom Cruise should have at least made room for Sam Elliott to make a cameo somewhere. It would have been great to allow Sam Elliott to cameo in one of the Mission Impossible films. But
Holy, real popcorn geek. Wow.
you know what? You've got a point there.
James Rimmer. Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm ashamed of myself that I never considered that.
Yeah. James Remar is an incredible actor. I like him. Though, as much as I like James Remar, I could think of probably I think I could probably come up with one person who would have been better than James Remar, and that's Stephen Lang.
Holy crap. Dude, everybody's on fire today.
James Remar would be good as Gordon. So would Stephen Lang. And Stephen, look, nothing against James Remar, but Stephen Lang's a badass. I don't know if anybody's actually been paying attention. But yeah, that would be fantastic. But look, I have to console myself with the fact that I think Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios did everything possible to come up with the right person to replace William Hurt. I almost refuse to believe that the only reason why they chose Harrison Ford was because he was already connected to Disney, working on both Star Wars and Indiana Jones stuff. And he just happened to be there, I refuse to believe that's the reason why they did it, even though it sounds remotely like something they would probably consider.
Yeah, maybe he was signed for specific numbers of movies, unspecified. Just you are going to do this number of movies with us, and that came up and say, "Wait, I can do that."
Well, look.
Ow, Chenotsky. Ow.
I look at it this way. The movie's done, finally. They have shot a lot of footage.
The movie's done again.
Again.
They made it 4 times, for crying it out loud. Even if it's the best movie ever, the chances for it to recoup the money invested. Oh,
yeah, that's the thing. If you want to live in the fantasy world where the movie magically was made for $180 million, you go right ahead and do that. You go right ahead and live in that fantasy world.
By the way, By the way,
I do feel, as I keep
are you
saying, I do feel bad for Anthony Mackie because it never
mm,
should have gone down like this.
mm,
You know, and in my opinion, here's the other reason why if I were Anthony Mackie, I would be completely ticked off. Do you think even half the problems this film had, they would have had Chris Evans been the lead still?
maybe,
No, I don't think
maybe.
so.
I,
Not with
I,
Chris
I,
Evans as the lead. They never would. You never would have seen them go into production with a half-baked script. That script would have been
mm,
gone through. They would have had their best people working on it. And that's the other thing. They have
well,
2 people credited with an additional 5 names of other people that worked on this script.
you have too much faith on the production team in this in
I no,
movie.
I think they would have. I think they would have gone with a team of writers that were proven. That
I don't
Chris
know.
Evans would have said,
Have you seen the last two phases of the MCU?
well, I mean, again, a lot of talented people left after Endgame. It's kind of hard to continue to do stuff when a lot of your best and most talented people walk out the door. My thing is, it says something about the way you work when all of your really talented people decide to walk.
Mm. Wait, Chen. Here's the thing. This uh, uh, Evans is returning not as Cap, but evil Cap. So
We have never we have not had anything confirmed as to what role
mm,
he's actually playing. There's been a lot of speculation, and right now the idea is that he's coming back as sort of like they keep borrowing things from the comics, so chances are he'll be coming back as Captain Hydra.
well, evil Cap.
Yeah, Evil Cap, the Hydra version of Captain America, which is dumb. You know, basically they're going to have him job it. That way, they can manufacture a fight between Steve and Sam.
Dude, Sam is he doesn't have the super soldier serum. It's
Uh huh. And that,
what?
and that's gonna that's gonna stop him from making the movie where he goes up against Red Hulk for what reason? I mean, I mean, again, I am aware of all of the. This is a Wakanda suit. This has got all this tech stuff and all this.
Uh,
Doesn't work. It does
not,
not work.
not to mention all the whole lore breaking. I mean,
Yeah.
Thanos, Thanos being capable of thunder slapping Hulk at will, but the Cap can't stop Thanos, and so now what? Is Cap stronger than Hulk? What the what?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it?
Jesus. Yeah. Well, look, the thing about T'Challa is that he actually had enhanced strength, speed, and everything else.
Yes, because of the flower. It
That's
wasn't
right.
the suit.
So
His strength wasn't about the suit. Was about the flower.
yes. So in having all of that, having his suit have this technology where it can actually do special stuff, that's a suit worn by someone who's already enhanced. Giving it to someone with no powers makes no sense. You cannot have Sam Wilson emulating T'Challa when T'Challa already had enhanced strength.
Oh well. These people. These people.
Yeah, yeah, yep. And they wonder why things aren't working out. Again, when you decide, look, when you make fun of, make light of, really look down on the fans of this material, then I don't think any thought should be made about, gee, I wonder why they're mad. I mean, it's becoming increasingly clear that the people in the industry really, all they want of us fans, of the nerds and geeks out, they just want our money. That's it. They want our money. They don't want us, but they want our money. And they think in exchange for just showing up and making a movie that we might like, that we would give them a lifetime loyalty. That's not how that goes. So,
we're getting there.
Oh yeah. In fact,
we're going there.
Yeah,
So,
we should make that.
No, we should go with Beau De Mayo because it links.
Yeah, it does link in. It links in between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first, as many of you may know, Beau De Mayo was the showrunner for X-Men 97. Prior to that, he was part of the staff of writers that they had for The Witcher. And he was, I think, the only person on staff of those writers that was actually on Henry Cavill's side. Because he left The Witcher because of everything that was going on. Martin, now,
yeah,
it's safe to assume that you've already watched
yes.
Beau De Mayo's video. So, to those who may not know what we're talking about, Beau De Mayo decided to put together a video explaining his side of everything that has happened between himself, Marvel, and Disney. Mainly between himself and Marvel. And I have to say that having watched the video now and listening to his explanation, I got to say that this very well could be more of the same kind of stuff that I've been talking about for a few years. How everybody jumped on board, mainly based on a few things that certain people have had to say. The old, hey, like what everybody else did with Kevin Feige, sort of assuming that he was one of us because he said so. I mean, that, again, I say this every time. Can anybody find anything, either from around the time of Iron Man, definitely by the time the Avengers come out, where anyone else outside of Kevin Feige can give an accurate description, representation of how much of a comic book geek he actually is? Because I will tell you, in the past, when someone was one of those things, that was easily identifiable. Now, I'm not saying Kevin Feige never cracked open a comic at all. I'm just saying that the level of his knowledge and interaction with comics is a little lacking. given the job and the position that he has. And there are way too many instances where you have a lot of these films, especially starting with Black Widow, and every film that has come out since Black Widow, and how far a lot of that stuff has strayed from the source material. And again, I'm not one of those people that say that it has to be word for word just the way it was in the comics. That's never what Marvel Studios has really been trying to do. They like to borrow things, titles, other things, but they at least try to keep it kind of sort of close to what the main issues are, depending on what they decided to, air quotes, adapt. Again, at least they're not as bad at it as, say, the Bourne films, who, go from, hey, let's adapt the first book in the series, and then for all the other movies we make, we'll just take the titles from the book, but we'll do a whole different plot.
Yes. The Bourne series, you can resume it like that. There are good movies, there are stinky adaptations.
Yeah. It's not a very good adaptation. There's still good movies, but as far as adaptation, they get an F for adaptation. It's kind of like saying, hey, we're gonna watch Toy Story, and it's the plot from Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's about what they did with the Bourne films. So
let's oh my god, let's do the next James Bond movie. Well, here is where he gets his superpowers. What? And he's what?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, I mean, I've said it before. The whole thing with the Daniel Craig Bond movies, in my opinion, is that's an alternate universe Bond. You could make an argument that all the movies, with the exception of No Time to Die, are actual proper Bond films, but that final movie is an alternate universe Bond. That's a fantasy.
All Craig arc is in another pocket universe.
But the reason why I say that is because of what happens to Felix Leiter. Felix doesn't die in the books.
Mm-mm.
Felix is still alive. In fact, Felix got dropped by the CIA after he got his leg bitten off. He left the employee. So he ended up working different jobs for other, I think he worked for one other government agency. Then he left the employ of the government and went into private practice. But he's still alive. And notice, for No Time to Die, he's still working for the CIA. And he doesn't seem to be limping. So obviously, License to Kill never happened. Not one of my favorite Bond films, but it is canon because it happened within the story, in the books. So you can't kill off someone that's not really meant to die in the books. That's my whole thing with that. It's like, well, the moment that, to me, when I was watching the movie, from that point on, where they kill off Felix, it's like, oh, we're going into fantasy land now. Okay, that's fine. I mean, that's like watching a Star Trek movie with the original characters and killing Kirk off halfway through the film.
Well, that's subverting your expectation.
Yeah. So, it's difficult. But when you are taking characters and stories that were created by other people, your job really is to be a custodian of what was made by someone else. You're not the creator, but you are the current custodian. And so it is up to you to understand that you're being entrusted with these characters in this universe until such time as it's time for you to turn it over to someone else. Nowadays, you have people acting like any particular IP that they're given is instantly theirs to do with as they will. And if it contradicts something in the main source material, at least in the world of Alex Kurtzman, well, that just means I can change it, and that all you fans need to get with the program that what I say goes. I'm especially looking at a lot of the fans of Strange New Worlds, because that's exactly what Akiva Goldsman actually believes also. That they can go ahead and just change whatever. And that any argument the opposite way means that you're just not a real fan. You're not willing to submit to their better version of what they're doing. So, anyway, Beau De Mayo, getting back to Beau, has a video where he starts to talk about what happened. And what he eventually starts to describe, in my opinion, is it's not good. But it would explain quite a few things that have been going on since at least 2016 of how I think things have been going on in the entertainment industry, especially Hollywood, since then. You have a lot of people, a lot of men who make themselves out to be very sympathetic towards certain causes, who really like to shout to the rooftops how much they actually believe in certain ideas being put forth, and how they want to support, almost to in all these cases, how they want to really support the women out there and how they believe in what they're fighting for. Only for the general public to eventually find out that person has been doing a lot of not cool stuff behind the scenes, and they may not be as with it as they say they are. And it seems like what Beau De Mayo is describing in working for Marvel is that you have a lot of people behind the scenes that are saying one thing in the general public and online and acting completely differently behind the scenes. If even just a handful of the things that he talked about in his video, Beau, are true, let's just say it's time that Marvel be changed. It's time for somebody to clean up Marvel, because there's no room for any of that stuff. I have, since I started doing all of this, I've been made aware of certain things, as many of you out there have also been made aware of through certain media outlets, of incidences involving mainly men, mainly people of color who have run into certain types of behaviors behind the scenes. That doesn't get talked about because the people that are being accused of this are seen as people who have a more progressive way of looking at things, who say that they are for certain things, but act heinously in person, behind the scenes. And I get, for many of you out there, back when Beau De Mayo his name was first mentioned as being someone, when it was discussed that he was no longer a part of X-Men, a lot of the stuff that was floated out there about, why he was being let go, or certain things that were intimated, looking back on that, a lot of that was just being put out there, that probably was being put out there by his quote-unquote former employers to disgrace him, to get him, to throw him off, so that anything he says won't be believed if he should happen to say many of the things that he said in the video that he put out. And now it looks like Mr. De Mayo's he's already retained legal counsel, and looks like he's gonna go right at Disney. And I can't say that I blame him. Again, if even a quarter of what he says in that video is true, get them. Go get them. I mean, Disney couldn't stop Gina Carano. I don't think they'll be able to stop Beau De Mayo. But
Gina has Elon Musk and his attorney team on order. So
true, but I mean, it opens the door to other things, and now it makes it easier for someone to say, "Hey, these people over there are not who you think they are. They're not as virtuous, and they're not as thoughtful as they claim to be." And that's definitely something that could be looked into, and be something where they are going to find substantial reasons to rule against Disney, Marvel in particular. But all I can say is, if you're one of those people that doesn't like Beau De Mayo, I'm not asking you to like the guy. All I'm saying is, give him a chance, watch the video, make up your own mind. That's all I can do. He convinced me. Like I said, I think the reason why he was able to do that is because I know of other incidences involving other people that have had certain things happen to them around people that are supposed to be a lot nicer. Covering all types of shows. I mean, whether you're talking Star Trek under Alex Kurtzman, certain things that have gone on behind the scenes there. Certain things that went on behind the scenes again at Marvel, Pixar. Yeah, it's not good. It's not cool. There is absolutely no time for any of that stuff to be acceptable. But again, there are just some people that think they can get away with it. That if they continue to say all the right things when the cameras and stuff are on them, that they can balance it out just by being total a-holes when the camera's on around. Which is disappointing. Because, again, Marvel Studios. I mean, come on. Anyway. Martin, so, were you shocked by some of the accusations that Beau De Mayo made in his video?
No, to be honest, no. There were maybe two or three things that I said. That you're stretching there, but it seems standard procedure and not only in the entertainment or in Hollywood. I've seen something like that and other branches of the entertainment industry, like video games and in another industries too. That if you don't toe the line, if you don't do what you're told, if you dare to question, oh man, brace yourself because they are gonna hammer you down.
Wow.
And the things he says, and I the most interesting part is when he talks at which precise moment the thing got worse, or it was not what got really serious.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
I'm not saying that all that he said is true. I haven't seen the evidence. What I'm saying is we have seen something like that before, many times.
yeah.
At least 3 times before. You have Henry Cavill, you have of course Gina, and you have Jenna Ortega when they try to torpedo her because she didn't want to stray out of character
Mm-hmm.
in Wednesday. We have seen this happened because I can understand you can just simply terminate the working relationship in good terms. Okay, we're not working well together. Bye. But now that is not enough. Now the production company has to destroy you. I don't get it.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, Gab.
I just, I just think that this explains so much, about, as I keep saying, things that I've heard, stories that I've been told. and of the people who are now currently in charge of the entertainment industry, how a lot of those people are basically not who they appear to be. And for Beau to also say that they really, really do not like people like us. They don't like nerds and geeks. They really don't. They look down on us, all of us. The people who are running the entertainment industry really do not like us. And he's not the first one to say that. I have heard that from other people. And combined with some of the stories that I have heard, that's the feeling that I've had for quite a while now. That part of the reason why it's easy for them to look at something like Madam Web and actually think that anybody who's actually been a fan of comic books for years could look at something like that and yeah, that's just not possible at this point.
Oh well.
Anyway, it's enough to. It just makes me shake my head, but it's also maddening because there's quite a few people that have been talking about this for quite a while, and all we've gotten in return is a lot of back talk. Definitely a whole lot of gaslighting. And people who just genuinely act very badly. Personally, it explains the reason why something like it explains the reason why Brian Fuller was truly not liked. That's something that I've read and I've heard from personal friends of mine who, when it comes to dealing with Brian Fuller on a business side of things, the thing is that Brian is not someone who the suits and middlemen like because he's too much of a nerd. He's too much of a geek.
Mm.
You know, he doesn't do it to be popular. He does it because that's what he feels. He's a creative guy. But because he is that and other things, I don't know. It makes it too easy for those that don't like that stuff to make light of people like him. So. Huh.
Yeah. However,
Oh, hold on. Sander Hammerslag says they don't like people who can think for themselves, have their own opinion, people they cannot sell their BS stuff and nonsense to. You're right. You're right. You know, and again, it's the difference between Big Bang Theory and Community. You know, Big Bang Theory is what they actually think all geeks and nerds are like.
yeah, freaking.
They think
true.
every single geek and nerd, that's what they think they're like. And they do that because it's easier to get people to laugh at them and not laugh at the situation that they have presented, which is what Community was. Because Community wasn't popular with people in the industry because it was geeks and nerds laughing at so-called normal people.
like that so-called normal.
It's true, you know. I mean, and again, it may sound like I hated the Big Bang Theory, and I didn't hate it,
Oh, I
but I
do.
recognize
with
I
a
I
passion.
recognize that show. Well, I recognize that show for what it is. You know, it's something that was made to really get so-called normal people to feel good about themselves and to have a group of people that they can kind of snicker at. You know, it was made by a writer showrunner who's very successful in creating situations. And he's so successful that a lot of his stuff seems to almost have kind of like a very formulaic type way of working for all of his hit shows during that period. And I get it. You know, there are people out there that are really, really big fans of Big Bang Theory and they like young Sheldon. And I say to those people, like, if that's what you like, more power to you. You know? But I've been around a lot of geeks and nerds in my life. And I'm going to tell you, it's not cookie cutter. It's not that easy. You know? And the people that made Big Bang Theory, you know, there are a few people out there that completely blow a hole in the way that they look at things. It's easier for someone like a Henry Cavill to be a part of the community universe than Big Bang Theory. You don't have to make excuses because someone doesn't act or look a certain way or wear certain kinds of shirts to help identify who they are. You know, geeks and nerds come in all different shapes and sizes and beliefs. And for those that are truly down with the lifestyle, it's not that there's anything wrong with them or us. It's the fact that those outside don't get us. And the thing is, what really drives them up the walls, we don't care. We really don't. If it confuses and confounds you, that's a you problem. If you really want to understand us, fine. Find a nice D&D group. Drop in. Hang out for a while. Play Magic the Gathering. Play a couple of video games. You know? Dust off your Xbox. Go get your PlayStation. You know, have some fun. But, you know, we don't have to really beg for attention. We don't need you to judge us or psychoanalyze us. You know, the fact that you seem to have a bug up your backside sideways trying to figure out why we are the way we are, instead of realizing that we're just happier people than you are. That's all. It's that simple. And again, the characters in Community, they are a lot easier to hang out with than the characters from the Big Bang Theory. For one thing, they're all normal people. And what I mean by that is they're at a community college. They're not, oh, I'm a doctor. I've got a blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay. I've also got all these lists of weird quirks. That way, you know, while I am smart, I can be non-threatening to those out there that just want somebody to look down and laugh at. Look at my weird hairstyle. Meanwhile, in Community, they just look at a lot of those characters or a lot of those people just like, yeah, shut up. You know, just deal with it. Or don't care. I'm really looking forward to watching the Community movie when it comes out. But
do we have
I think
any tentative release date?
they have not released it. As soon as I know, I'll let everybody else know.
But they are at least are they working on it?
Oh, the script's done. The script is done. I'm still thinking. From what I've last heard, they're trying to work out everybody's schedules to be in it.
Oh,
So
that's always tough.
yes, but it's a lot easier than just saying we don't have a script, right, Anthony Mackie?
Oh, Mahershala.
Yeah. Look.
Wow.
Here's the thing.
I think Mahershala got it worse.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Anthony Mackie and Mahershala could easily join Community and play a different kind of character. You know, Big Bang Theory, they would bring you on and let you play a celebrity version of yourself as those characters fawn over you or make some sort of comment. Whereas within the world of Community, they know actors, you know, the one thing they really like to do is act. They like to become people. And rather than just be fawned over, you get to play a part. And so instead of having Nathan Fillion do a walk-on cameo, which is what they would probably have him do on Big Bang Theory, Nathan Fillion became a character within the universe of Community. John Goodman did the same thing. And they all had fun. They all had fun doing it. Okay, so James said, I think it's easy for anyone to be considered a geek or nerd. All you need is to have a thing, something that you're into or passionate about. That's everybody. You're right. That is it. Everybody's got their something, as the song said. In fact, that takes us into our next subject, but that song was the title of a song from the official or unofficial soundtrack for what is called Radio Sunnydale for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I gotta say, I am surprised about as to how long it took to actually get around to doing this. Considering how many people currently in the business are devout fans of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Of course, it also coincides with the number of people who seemingly have no real talent for writing when they're adapting certain TV shows.
Oh my!
And who say that they are Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans. You know, that's the thing that really scares me about the announcement of this. I'm hoping a lot of those people aren't allowed anywhere near this thing. For those that haven't heard, Hulu is looking at bringing Buffy back in what can easily be called a I think it's closer to being with what was described. I think it's closer to being a continuation of the Buffy series, but with an emphasis on new characters. But you're still going to have access to and the capability of many of the original characters to be a part of what they're offering. And with that announcement and with that description, that basically describes quite a few projects of the last 25 years. When Bryan Singer was trying to bring Battlestar Galactica back, that was what they were aiming for, was to have was to bring back the original cast, but also have them paired up with much younger actors. Personally, I think that's a good way to go if you want to keep that going. But as of right now, Read by Nature, hey, he says it's a bit difficult to bring back your vampires 20 years later when your actors have aged. I understand. Although in the case of Angel, I look at it this way. As of right now, David Boreanaz has got nothing to do with this project. I think he was the first person to comment on it when Sarah Michelle Gellar posted it to her Instagram to make the announcement. And I think as of right now, James Marsters has had something to say. I think he released a statement, or at least he was able to say something. And it looks like, hold on, if I can call up, let's see. There we go. James Marsters. Oh. I guess that doesn't say that. Hold on. Now, here we go. This is from Comic Book Resources. Buffy the Vampire Slayer's James Marsters breaks silence on Sarah Michelle Gellar's upcoming reboot. It's by Monica Common, and it was posted 20 hours ago. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of the most influential fantasy shows, and its impact inspired multiple other shows to come. The conversation about a reboot has been going on for years, but Hulu recently confirmed a revival is in early development. Sarah Michelle Gellar is expected to reprise her role as Buffy Summers and is involved in developing the project. Oscar winner Chloe Zhao, the young woman who was brought in to direct what Kevin Feige and Marvel were calling the Eternals.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Chloe Zhao is, oh no, not Battlestar Galactica 1980. Laugh out loud.
Why?
Funny.
It wasn't that bad. God damn it. That show was
Oh, here we go. Read by Nature. He says, has there been any word on Whedon? Do the studio fully own Buffy, or will Joss have to be consulted or paid? Okay. For those of us that are fans of Buffy and who have been following, who know the history of the show, Joss Whedon created the character of Buffy, and he ended up getting a movie deal to make the movie, which had a cast that included Donald Sutherland and, a few other people of note. And in order to get the film made, he ended up signing a contract that pretty much screwed him a little bit. The director and her husband, who was also the producer of the film, basically got themselves a free ride for forever when it comes to anything related to Buffy. The way the script was written, they get credited as producers and have to be consulted about any major thing that happens with the character of Buffy. The movie wasn't exactly what Joss wanted to do, but he had to compromise with those two in order to get that movie made. And so when he had the opportunity to bring it back as a television series, he first had to contact those two. But they also were able to do a deal to get a production company called Sand Dollar to also go with them. Those of you that are fans of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the television series, will recognize that name. Well, Sand Dollar Productions, that's a production company owned by Dolly Parton. So every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer has a credit card there detailing Sand Dollar Productions and Kazooie, I think it's Kazooie Entertainment or Kazooie Productions. So Sand Dollar is Dolly Parton and Kazooie Productions are the husband and wife responsible for the movie. And Joss started his own company. And he decided to do the television series to correct a lot of the things that he didn't like about the movie. And that extended into, I think, Angel. Because I think there's a scene in Angel where you go back in time and you find out that Angel has actually been looking after Buffy since before she moved to Sunnydale, back during the events of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which is in direct, which contradicts some of what the movie is. When Joss recast, since they weren't going to get Donald Sutherland to make a cameo appearance, he went ahead and on purpose cast an actor that looked nothing like Donald Sutherland. He went ahead and cast an actor that was a little more heavy set and bumbling. But for its part, what Joss and his writers were able to do at Mutant Enemy was to create a show that really tapped into many of the thoughts and feelings and issues that being a teenager being a teenager at that time was like, what it felt like. And then to take on many of those issues by literally turning some of those things into creatures so that these teens could actually physically fight a lot of that stuff in a way, you know. Now, here's the thing. You do know where Joss got the basic idea to do that for a television series came from?
No.
Joss was a big comic book fan. And big. I mean, big. You know, when TV Guide went to the set to interview him, that's one of the things they talk about in his interview is how many comic books he's got in his office. But he took one of the characters, one of the IPs that he kind of borrowed a little from was Spider-Man. Buffy is nothing more than just Spider-Man done as a weekly TV series. That's it. You give Peter a bunch of friends, and then instead of Peter, it's Buffy. And instead of supervillains, you make them creatures of the night. It really is that simple. And it worked. But as we have come to learn, working with Joss had its own difficulties.
Yeah.
Joss was not an easy guy to work with.
That's a way to put it.
He had look, I could go into a lot of that. My advice to many of you who have never heard about this stuff before is to just go ahead and Google Joss Whedon. I think if you really want to know why you haven't heard anything from Joss, Google the New York Times interview that he did months after all of this became known. Yeah. I'm sorry, did I say New York Times? I meant to say New York Magazine. But yeah, that interview pretty much look, I was a big Buffy fan, and even I, in reading that interview, was just like, wow, dude, you're just going to double down on this stuff. You know, be defiant to the very end. You know, look, I'm a firm believer that that while there are those people who are very gifted with telling stories and being very creative, I do not believe in completely indulging that person for whatever seems to creep into their mind to do or how they want to treat people. That's a no-go for me. You know, you got to have a line. You got to have barriers. You know, there are a few things that Joss Whedon did that was just not cool, and I in no way would ever really. I mean, I would ever, in no way, ever support anyone doing that to anybody for any reason. You know, people like to talk about some of the certain situations involving him and certain female cast members, but also look up James Marsters' interview on the Inside of You podcast with Michael Rosenbaum. And you can probably even find some clips of him actually saying this stuff, where he recounts a situation that developed and seemingly got out of hand between him and Joss. That's all of that is just it truly is unfortunate, but it also explains why there seemed to be a lot of oddness going on behind the scenes when it came to a lot of the actors and working on those shows. And it seems like from a lot of the interviews given, at this time, mainly Sarah Michelle Gellar, there are a few mutant enemy people that are involved with this. Personally, if they're not doing anything, my whole thing would be invite back everybody from Mutant Enemy. Again, there's no way that Hulu or anyone else is ever really going to try to do anything with Joss. So you don't have to worry about Joss being a part of it. But thinking about it, why wouldn't you want to get the very creative band back together? Because all of those writers were really good at what they did. And if for anything else, to at least to see if you can get that entire writer's room in some capacity fully back in operation, and maybe see about only keeping them for maybe a year. And then if they want to leave or they want to go do something else, fine. If they want to stay, better. Bring in some other writers. I mean, as an up-and-coming writer, would you turn down the opportunity to work with all the writers that helped to make Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel? That's a once-in-a-lifetime type of opportunity. Now, based on what I've read, Shinatsky, the other issue is TV is different now. Yes, TV is different now.
It's different.
Part of that
it's
is
worse.
part of that is you have a lot of people who have made inroads and have done things with a lot of current television, but they're not very good at it. And it doesn't help that they claim to be Buffy fans, but aren't good enough to have even they're not good enough to have even been someone for whom Joss and those writers would have ever even had get them just coffee. They're so bad. This could be a good thing. But that's only if you're going to bring back a lot of that superstar writing talent that they had for Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. Both those shows were really well done. It is for me as a fan, while I wasn't super into the post Buffy developments that they had from the Dark Horse comics, I will say that a lot of those comics were excellent, fantastic continuations of what they had. I think I would like to see, though, what this new writing staff and Sarah Michelle could do in trying to at least bring in some of the stuff that Joss had created, even the future of that universe that was detailed in the comic book called Frey, F-R-E-Y. Hold on, wait. Read by Nature said, Buffy's ending is a difficult one to walk back. Given every possible Slayer of the Power seems like something you do when you are finished telling the story and don't have to account for how that works.
You don't have to walk it back. You just have to work from there on.
Yeah, you work from there.
That's what they did in the comics.
And that's what I was going to reference. They did that in the comics. That also goes with what I was just saying. The Frey comic book that they did, Joss Whedon, this would have been during season 6, so before the final season of the show, they put out a Frey comic book. And at the time, you know, it was just this futuristic story that have a good one, Penny, and I hope you enjoy the film.
Enjoy your movie.
It was a futuristic book about a slayer that lives in the far future, where vampires are basically extinct. I mean, there are really none. And prior to the final season of the show, you have no idea, reading the comic, why there aren't any vampires. And then, oh, it's Anima. Ah, the gorgeous Anima Confusa. But you have no idea why there would be, you know, why vampires would be basically extinct in the far future. And then, you know, you get that final season going and you understand. Well, part of that would be if you had basically a large number of young women who were all powered the same way Buffy was. Okay, then you could buy into the fact that vampires would become an endangered species. She says it's just popping in to say hi and sleep well, Anima. Yeah, well, Shinatsky, again, you don't have to actually have Buffy have had children or anything like that. You don't have to do that, you know. But again, if you've read the Dark Horse comics, you know what direction many of the writers and Joss Whedon were wanting to go with the character. I think as far as Joss is concerned, the Buffy year 8, year 9, and year 10, I think they went to. I think all of that is official. It's canon, along with the television series, because it was him and his writers that did the comics. So it's all official. And Frey, if you watch the final 2 episodes of Buffy, you now know that Frey, the comic book that I've been talking about, is also official. So that is the future. We got a glimpse into the future of what exactly will be happening. And again, the world of Buffy is more than just vampires. There are all manner of creatures out there. So just because vampires become an endangered species doesn't mean that the fight is over.
Well, as we saw in Angel, this is home office.
Yep. I like the way you did that. Again, out of the 2 shows, Angel was my favorite. I love the television series Angel. It didn't last as long as Buffy, but I enjoy all 5 seasons of the show, with the 5th season being my favorite. I mean, I like every season of the show, but season 5 has the most variety, and it's just cool. You know, the special glass that they use in the building so that Angel didn't have to actually hide. He can just he's got an office and a penthouse that he can just look out onto the city with, and it doesn't matter what time of day. And all those cars, oh my goodness. He's got all these sweet cars that are all his. So yeah, you can come up with all kinds of stories. If David actually wanted to come back for just a cameo or something, there's all different ways that you can do this. You know, this is gonna sound bad, but I mean, there is one character that I would like to check up on. You know, uh, and that's Annie. The one character that was not a regular character, but whose story is woven from the first season of Buffy to the final season of Angel. And her story is woven throughout the entire series. So, Shinatsky, David doesn't need to try to resurrect past glories. He's the most successful one. No, that's what I mean. He had an Instagram post where he basically was just wishing Sarah Michelle good luck with this. Meaning, you know, basically what everybody's interpreted as is like, I'm not coming back. You know, James Marsters, who I was reading part of that story that was printed, he also is basically saying, look, I've heard nothing. I'm not going to say anything. I've heard nothing. I'm just going to sit back and wait. So that's pretty much.
Whatever you do, you can use David and James. They are older now.
True.
Buffy, you can. She's human, but they are vampires.
Well, as someone suggested that maybe being a vampire that has a soul could actually weigh on you to the point where it would start to age you.
Nah, because how many years have Angel have that soul? More than a century.
True. But
so,
we don't know whether or not either one or both of them were able to fulfill the prophecy.
Well, certainly was an angel. He renounced the prophecy.
True. He did. That doesn't mean anything in the world of Buffy. In the world of Buffy, you can plan to do something. That doesn't mean that's going to happen. You know, so look, there are all different ways to go. I'm excited because this is something that I've been kind of expecting / just a tiny bit dreading since Disney bought Fox. Again, I mean, you can go back and look at those episodes that Gary and I did. And I was like, when are they gonna do something about Buffy? They've owned the right. They've been holding on to the rights for Buffy all this time. You know, they had a lot of Marvel properties connected to Fox, but that's not the only reason why they bought Fox. I mean, seriously, you go through all their IP, there's definitely quite a few things. So, I don't know. It's a good story. I'm digging the fact that Sarah Michelle seems to be interested in doing this. I feel rather dubious about Chloe Zhao being involved with it, but then again, you know, I think in the end, I'll feel a lot more confident if they are aiming to try to bring back at least half of the original writers for this show.
Yeah, right.
I think.
Didn't you see what they did with the writers of Who and Star Trek? Huh? I don't
The
see
writers
this
of
Doctor
the
Who
writers of oh, well, that's like
and the
one or two people. I'm
writers
talking
of
about
Star Trek. Remember the policy that if you like the source material, you cannot be a writer.
yeah,
Remember that policy?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Disney slash Fox slash Marvel slash Lucasfilm policy that seems to be the dominant policy nowadays about IP and source material,
I'm
which
down
is
with real
detrimental.
popcorn on this one. If they remaster Buffy and Angel on 4K and release it in physical media, it would be an infinite stream of money.
Oh, heck yes. Well, look, uh, since I can't find any information about them having sold it, you know, Disney actually also has the rights to George R. Martin's Wild Cards. You
Don't
know,
know him.
that's a book series that basically just think if the people behind Game of Thrones were doing superheroes.
So the boys.
They to a point. You know, the boys can get kind of psychotic. That's like one, maybe two characters within Wild Cards. You're playing out all the different types. And when you start it, Wild Cards, it's an alternate history a little bit, starting in the 1950s, all the way up. So you're getting uh, you're getting an alternate take, or at least a superhero take, of what the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s were like. So it's really it's heroes with a little bit of the boys and done in an almost kind of anthology style where depending on who the characters are and what the situation is, the tone of everything is different. So you could have one episode or one story be like the boys. You could have another story be like something like Kingdom Come, which is even worse than the boys in that instance. Or you could make it sort of like Camelot 3000, or you could make it, all different types of stories from all over comic bookdom, detailing different types of characters who all have different powers, different power sets, all living together. I think it'd be kind of neat, but Disney's been sitting on it for years. They haven't done anything at all with it. And for those of you who actually read the Wild Card books, you know what I'm holding back. You know, I there's more than I want to say, but I can't without giving away a lot of really cool plot points that I think I'm the kind of person that wants people to experience it on their own and find it out for themselves. I don't like to give spoilers. There's just something about it that, you know, if anything, just get a copy of the first book and read it. That's all I can say. Just get a copy of the very first book. And if you like that, just wait until you get to the third book in the series. Wow. Wow. I can definitely say it would be like, it literally is if you took Zack Snyder's Man of Steel
and make
and
it good.
combined it with Joss Whedon's Avengers and centered it all on one building in downtown New York and had an entire sequence happen with all this stuff playing out in one building. Not quite like The Raid, but you know. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But no, Disney has a lot more rights to things than what they've let on. And they either are too dumb to know what they have, or they know what they have and don't realize that this is actually kind of cool and that they could do something with it. Owning Marvel isn't just about the Marvel Comics characters. Turns out Marvel also went out and bought other companies that have since gone out of business, other comic book companies and publishers. They bought out a lot of other companies since the 90s. So there are a lot of comic book IPs that Marvel actually owns that they could create some original film and TV experiences with. That if all you've done is just read Marvel Comics, then you have really just no idea what's ahead. Trust me, a lot of this stuff is amazing. But if I had to pick one thing that would be surprising, it would be Men in Black. Marvel actually went out and bought the company that had the rights to the Men in Black characters. The original comic book, not the movies, the comic book that inspired the films. Marvel owns that. Yes, read by like Ultra, but Ultra's not the only one they own. They bought the company that did that, but they also bought several other comic book companies too. Some of them were highly touted in the pages of Wizard magazine in the 90s. And when they went out of business, a lot of people just thought, well, we'll never see that again. Well, yeah, certain ideas you probably will never see again. But I think both DC and Marvel went out and actually bought a lot of these companies for nothing. And in buying those companies, they got those characters. Marvel has a lot of stuff that they haven't even begun to access. It's one of the reasons why, like with DC, I've been saying, this is something that I think James Gunn realized. There's stuff that the powers that be have no earthly idea what they have. And you can develop it and probably be the first to actually show people what they have. But Kevin Feige, again, this is why you need to have a comic book fan as a part of these companies. Kevin Feige doesn't know about all this stuff. I say what I've said before. I think Kevin Feige is someone who only knows comics from maybe the bare end of the 80s, definitely 90s. And if that's all you know, if the extent of your knowledge comes pretty much from the 90s to now, you are missing so much. So, but Kevin Feige doesn't know any of that. He doesn't know what he doesn't know, basically. And then on top of that, he's got Men in Black, technically. I don't know what the state of that contract they have with Universal is. But if anything should happen to that, the rights revert to Marvel and Disney. And since they have the original comic, they wouldn't necessarily even have to use any of the characters and storylines from any of the Will Smith movies, because that in and of itself is just adapted or loosely based on the comic. They took some liberties with those movies. So anyway, there you go. Cross-gen. Yeah, real popcorn geek. There you go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Cross-gen. Look up cross-gen in the 90s. Look up some of those look up all their comic book titles. Are you telling me that stuff would not make really cool films or Disney Plus original series? Cross-gen was the God, that was the shiznick. That had the biggest potential. Anyway, Real Popcorn Geek, the last update on George R. R. Martin's Wild Card series was in 2023 about Peacock passing on the show. Yes. But it doesn't state as to who actually owns the IP. See, that's what I've been talking about. Does Disney still own that IP? Because I'm telling you right now, if Disney doesn't own that IP, whoever has it, you're an idiot for not doing anything with it. You literally have something in your hands that could be one of the coolest experiences ever, because it combines everything: science fiction, superheroes, fantasy, but also alternate history. So you get to tell an alternate version of the 1950s, 1960s, 70s, 80s, and tell the story of what happens when normal people get superpowers and how it turns the world upside down. Anyway.
Yeah, it's time to talk about the starship in the room.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
The Orville. Oh, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? Look, as it stands right now, as it stands right now, Disney is still interested in the Orville, and so it looks like we'll be getting something. But it's what we're getting is the question. You know, the decision that has to be made is this going to be a full season order, or are they going to turn around and just give us an Orville movie? Now, what I didn't get a chance to tell you the other night, Martin, is if they go with the movie idea, then they can pretty much get the entire cast back for that. That'll be easier to do than doing a full series. So they can get everybody back for that. Anyway, Mark and I were talking yesterday, and it's looking like, as of right now, the Orville definitely looks like it's coming back. They just don't know in what form. If we're talking television series, then they might be missing Adrian Pilecki, because it looks like she doesn't want to do the show anymore. when she played Commander Kelly Grayson, second in command of the Orville. And that Seth MacFarlane is just really, really, really busy. He's got several projects that he's trying to implement, and he's just so busy that he may end up allowing someone else to take over the Orville, and he just basically be there to act, if at all.
Okay. Now, and this is
Yeah.
just me,
Yeah.
babbling here. In that scenario, without Adrian and potentially Seth, wouldn't it be preferably then a spin-off set in the same universe?
Oh, they could definitely, they could definitely do that. You know, and call it the Wilbur.
It's doing the most.
It really does depend. Look, I don't know about doing a spinoff unless you could get the entire creative team back who helped to launch the show, including Jon Favreau. I really like the cast. I like the way they did what they did. I wouldn't mind TV movies. You know, from what I heard, you're looking at maybe a 2 or 3 hour event. Pretty much just 3 episodes tied together. That's it. But now here's the thing that I heard. If they go the direction of the TV movies, they could end up doing that every other year. So you'd get more than just one TV movie out of it. So every 2 years, you get a brand new Orville event movie. Or maybe every 3 years.
I can live with that. After all, we have to wait 2 or 3 years between seasons.
I know. And for those of you that aren't into the Orville, I get it. I understand. But the Orville really is a fun show.
I don't get it. If you're not into the Orville, I don't get it.
Look. The Orville is just. What if the people in charge of Kurtzman Track actually had some talent and a sense of humor? Yeah, that's what the Orville is. I'm digging it. I'm digging the news. You know, that's just really, really good news. And I'm just I'm here for it. I can't wait. You know, if this is gonna be it, though, I mean, if Seth is really just gonna call it, then yeah, go ahead and just do the movie, allow everybody to be in it, and say goodbye and call it good. You know, if this is all we're going to get, I'm good with it. Yeah. Read by Nature Orville is great. I was surprised they dialed back the comedy as the seasons progressed. Yeah, because again, Seth MacFarlane is a serious Star Trek fan. Okay, and ultimately, that's really why he created the Orville. He was trying to parlay what he had been known for into basically launching his own Star Trek. That's it. That's the easiest way I can say it. And so far he's done it. You know, they're able to get really cool guest stars, and Just it works for me. I like watching the Orville more than I like watching even Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
I've run into people who have a more difficult time with that question. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how you can watch Brave New Worlds. I can. I no. Picard season 3 and that's all. It's the only new Trek content that I have been able to stomach has been that one.
I'm not much of a fan of any of it. I'm that's the reason why I'm in favor of as Steve said in the Winter Soldier movie. It's all got to go. I know that there are fans out there who are wanting to hear, well, maybe they can keep Strange New Worlds and build on top of that. That's not happening.
Nope.
I'm telling you that right now. David Ellison is not going to stand for that. Alex Kurtzman's done a really good job. That for those particular people who he pissed off, they're not annoyed with him. I think they literally hate this guy's guts. And unfortunately for him, one of those people is now the owner of Paramount Global.
Wow, Gap. that came out of the blue.
Wow. Anyway, there you go. That's the extent of it. I wish I had happier news overall. I mean, I the Orville's happy news, but I mean, it is what it is right now. Everybody's trying their best, and that's all one can really ask for. Real Popcorn Geek says, I like Strange New Worlds for what it is, but no, everything Kurtzman Trek has to go. Yeah, you're right. It has to go because I don't think they want to deal with his mess anymore. So.
Oh, look who's here. Little late, my friend. Well, I have to run this video. I have to. I'm contractually obligated.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Do your.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Oh, wow. It's always good to talk to everybody. Here we go. He says he has the day off, did something this morning, and took a nap with your dog. That's nice.
Yes, it is. So,
yeah.
Sadly, we have reached that time.
Yes, we have. And we are headed into the weekend. So for those out there, if you get an opportunity, have fun. For those of you out there who are actually going to attend certain events like comic convention or Comic-Con, of which I will be doing that this weekend myself. Have fun, stay hydrated, make sure you carry lots of hand sanitizer, and if you can, take a few pictures and try to post them, because I know I will be definitely doing that. So, yeah. How about you, Martin? What you got planned for this weekend?
Nothing out of the ordinary, to be honest. Prepare show, prepare content, watch one or other movie or show. I hope I have some time to play some video games. But that's never a sure. But yeah, at the moment there are no extraordinary plans. So that's it for me.
That's it for you. That's cool. That's cool. Well, it's about that time then, everybody. Hopefully you've enjoyed this show. If you did, I am very happy that you did, and I'm happy that you took time out of your day to spend it with myself and Martin. And if you didn't, I am glad you have watched all the way to now. And I thank you for your time. Oh, wow. Yeah, thanks, Tim. Oh, wow. Wow. That's a way to head into my weekend. Okay. You can find me at extension BR549. So.
That was something.
Wow. Anyway, this has been a really, really good episode. So I just want to thank Tim, Anima, Cam's Crash Courses, Read by Nature, Sander Hammersteig, Gap After Dark, Real Popcorn Geek, Real Wade Nation, James Moncrief, because he's cool like that. Penny. I think that's it. Oh, Penny. Man, how could I have missed Penny's name? And Tom Baker, and Shinotsky, and Andy Morrow, and Mephisto. Hello, Mephisto, again. We definitely need to get you back on the show.
Yep.
But that's today's show. And again, as always, I want to thank you for spending time and having a little fun. And for those of you who feel the need to reach out and communicate, just understand that as far as I'm concerned, there is no show without the gentleman that's sitting right next to me right here, Martin, because, he is definitely cool like that. So thanks again, and try to have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you next week.
Yes, and remember, tonight at 8 p.m. Central, we have our monthly episode of It's 80s Fright with Greg from Fanzine and Nadia. And we're going to talking about Warlock.
What?
Yes.
With Julian Sands?
Yes.
Wow.
So,
Fun movie.
Yeah, now you know. You have to watch it.
Wow. See ya.
See you, everybody.
Thank you.